Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. Let us talk about mantra japa, repeating a mantra. There are quite a number of teachers who rather look down on mantra japa, thinking this is just some kind of a practice to superficially lull the mind to give a semblance of quiet. But actually, mantra japa goes much deeper than that. Of course, like with everything, it depends always the sincerity with which we are practicing it. Many of the mantras, they are having, including bijas, they call that in the Indian tradition, the seed words for different aspects of the deities. And these different aspects of the deities, they are just a way to connect with that one essential divinity. And they have been used over, I don't know how long, enormous time with devotion. And so they are charged. There is a certain power in it. But still, the main thing with mantra japa is because if we have a mantra and then repeat it, after a very short time, it has the tendency to become just automatic, to become a bit spiritless. That, that there is just something going on, repeating. And if one does mantra really with attention and devotion, if one is consciously aware of the mantra, of the silence in between, then that goes much deeper. People who really do mantra practice as a main practice and do it when they sit and meditate and do it as good as they can when they are active. Of course, sometimes it will be a bit mechanic. But it gives the possibility to call the attention back, to bring the attention back to the mantra, and consciously repeating the mantra means to be consciously in the now. And it has an effect of a bit lulling the mind. But so what? If one continues repeating, then he also a mantra practitioner will have to face the issues that come up, that are stored there in the subconscious, that need to be given attention. It will happen with the mantra japa as much as with any other practice. Ramana Maharshi used to give mantras to certain people. If they couldn't do self-inquiry, he would advise them to do either pranayama or mantra. But the opposite also, if they couldn't do the mantra, he would advise them to do pranayama or self-inquiry. Nisargadatta, who was astounded at Vaidin, but he had great respect for mantra japa. He himself did give mantras to people, and he went out of his way to say things like, mantra has such a power, even if a donkey would start to repeat a mantra regularly, gradually, he would also purify and eventually reach self-realization. This is an Indian way of talking. Sometimes if something wants to be expressed, it's expressed in a rather exaggerated way, but it simply shows that that great Advaitin Nisargadatta Maharaj, he had great respect for mantra japa. One can pick up a mantra by oneself, but a mantra that one likes, or it can be given by a teacher, or it can be given by the guru. And if the guru gives the mantra, often it's connected with an initiation, that the mantra is also empowered. That, of course, then has even a special edge, a mantra given like this. But that edge can also be gained by simply practicing regularly mantra japa. I never have been a full-time mantra practitioner, but I did get a mantra from Amma when I came to her, and she said, well, at that time I was trying to do self-inquiry as good as I could. And she said, if you are tired in between, just repeat the mantra. And that's what I did. And that is what very helpful. Sometimes I had just trying to be in the present pride, trying to be with the I am, inquiring, who am I? Sometimes getting really tired of it. And then it was like a relief, a pleasant, cool shower to just drop it all and simply pick up the mantra and for some time do nothing else but repeating the mantra. So for me, it was, by the way, a help, but it was very effective. It is still effective. When I start something, silently I do my mantra. Now, Mariam asked me that she was there in a mantra chanting, I think like a retreat, something, but they avoided the Om. And I know there are schools that say that Om is only for sannyasis, for renunciates, that people who live in the world should not repeat Om. And the reason that is given is that Om is making one detached. And then with the idea that if the people living in the world getting too detached, they cannot more do their worldly duties. But this is not so. It need not be so. Actually, people working, living in the mainstream, in the stream of the society, they do need detachment. As much as the sadhu, the sannyasi needs detachment. They may not express that detachment with giving away all their possessions and living somewhere as a hermit, but learning to be detached in the midst of activity. And if the Om practice simply by repeating the Om or included in another mantra and many mantra, including the Om, if that helps to develop that detachment, that is a great thing. And for everybody, detachment doesn't mean that after that we become incapable of functioning. Detachment simply means that we learn not to be always emotionally locked into things and then keep it, even if situations have passed, we still emotionally hook into them, give them a reality they don't deserve. Detachment is needed. And if Om helps, no matter whom, then by all means, if someone feels like chanting mantras with Om or simply the Om, by all means do so. So, Mariam, don't worry if you use the Om, even if you have heard that is maybe not so good for somebody who is working in the world. Don't you worry. Use your capacity to work in the world, to work with your profession, to be with people is not diminishing because of that. And if it helps you to be more in a witnessing position, more detached, so much the better. Mm. Mantra has been used in all the religions in one way or another. They simply didn't call it like this. Catholics have their Ave Maria. The Orthodox Church is very much into the heart prayer, Kyrie eleison. And all who have practiced mantra with sincerity, they can attest it has been very helpful. You can still be an Advaitin, you can still practice Buddhism, you can still practice something very abstract, but mantra, if one feels like doing so, can be a great help. It harnesses energy, it quietens the mind, and it helps also to get rid of issues that we are carrying along. Even if some teachers say it doesn't work that way, that has to be done in other ways. If one does mantra and mantra again, and then all that stuff also will come to the surface. All that stuff will also have to be looked at and dropped. But the mantra helps for people who feel drawn to do so. If somebody doesn't feel like doing so, but then thinks maybe I should do mantra because it's a good practice, it's very helpful, it's powerful, but they don't really have their heart in it, then it's better not to do mantra. It's something that one feels like, oh, this is something that I like to do, and not with reluctance. It's not an absolute necessity that everybody should start to do mantra, but those who do, don't let teachers tell you that it's worthless, and don't also have a doubt if your mantra that you are repeating contains an om. If people come along and say, no, 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 people who live in the world should not do om. It's funny what kind of stuff that is creeping into the teaching, into the traditional teaching also, and some teachers are insisting, but we need not get sidetracked by that. So I can only warmly recommend those who have a mantra and like to do so, by all means use that mantra sincerely. Everyone does that a bit in their own way. How much, whether it's just at certain time, whether it's the whole day long, like any other practice, what counts is that we are sincere about it. That like every other practice, the essence of it is that it helps us to bring the attention back to the now, to that timelessness of the now. And the more we can do a mantra with attention, consciously, with devotion, the more powerful the practice is. But this is the same also in all the other practices. It has been helpful for sannyasis, but it has been helpful for people living in a household, living in the world, having a profession, being busy with people. Okay, Mariam, don't you worry. If you have mantras with Om and you feel like doing so, by all means do so without a doubt, without getting sidetracked when other people say this should not be done. I guarantee you there is no harm in it at all. Okay, I drop the subject and I quickly go. I just had time to quickly read through an email a friend sent me. It's about self-worth. And that person's situation is a bit difficult because there's always a bit little money. Hmm. Living in a society where a lot of money is needed. And so sometimes people offer things for free, participation in in something or other, or with less pay, and then the person has a bit a bad conscience about it, feels a bit funny. I'm getting special treatment. I'm receiving from people. My friend, don't you worry about that. Use your time wisely. Do your practice, which you are anyhow doing, and then with the external circumstances, let them come and go as they come and go. And if you are a bit short of money and other people after that show empathy for your situation and let you have a special situation in a certain context, so then accept it gratefully, accept it with the conscience, with the awareness that you are making good use of that possibility, that you are making good use of the time, and that is the one thing that counts. If you really connect with that divinity somehow or other, you always have what you need. But what we need is not necessarily what any desire that comes through the head. If we try, if we think like that, there is no limit to it. If we think, yes, I have the right that all my desires get fulfilled, then out of the small desires become big desires and ever bigger. Doesn't work that way. But if we are not greedy for things that are not really necessary, even if so, sometimes in the mind it may look like, oh, that would be very nice, having also this, having also that, being capable of doing this or that. But if one stops and looks at the oneself and the situation becomes also clear, it doesn't matter whether I have these things. It doesn't matter whether I can do those things. What matters is that I can spend my time in such a way that I can connect best, as good as I can. And that's our job. And if we are doing that, then somehow the universe arranges it that what we need is there. But then along with that money aspect, then comes sometimes also sniding remarks from other people. But that is happening everywhere, no matter what you are doing, no matter what you are not doing, no matter where you live, it will always happen. Some people may like what you are doing, some people may admire what you are doing, and some people may be critical about what you are doing, and sometimes they express it in a not very sensitive way, and we have to learn not to take that serious. First, we have to have that strength to be connected with ourselves and be at ease, at peace with ourselves. And then if people talk negatively, it doesn't really matter. We are aware. No, I know what I feel. I'm aware that what I'm doing, the way, the direction I'm going is the right way. So if some people have to criticize it, so then that's their thing. I need not be somehow devastated because of that. Sometimes it's people that are very close, and then it's a bit more difficult not to be rattled by it. But even when people who are close are criticizing in an unfriendly way, we can always somehow accept, okay, it's their thing. They have also something to work out, and that manifests sometimes not very friendly. So what? Self-worth is not given by the circumstances. Self-worth is not dependent that we always have enough money in all the situations. Self-worth is not real when it's depending on the feedback that comes from the people. It's of course nice if people praise. It's nice if people like you. It's nice if we have people around that can somehow see what we are doing and respect what we are doing. But we are not getting greater because of that. It's just pleasant. And it's unpleasant if people come and criticize. But we are not getting smaller when somebody comes and criticizes. You are what you are. And whether people like it or don't like it, that doesn't change a damn thing, except if we take it too much too hard. If there comes a critic and that we feel devastated because of it. If we have already self-doubt, then of course the critic of somebody else is also worse because it's reinforcing our self-doubts. The more you will feel that self-worth that you are wondering about, the more you are in conscious touch with yourself. The more we feel cut off, the more we feel estranged, then of course the more we are vulnerable to these kind of attacks from outside. Critics, difficult situations, maybe short of money, then It's so easy that then the doubts creep in. Oh, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I'm being punished. Maybe something is just wrong in what I do, what I believe, how I live. And if I would change it, then things would go smoother. They might, but they might not. That's how it is. It's true that the more we are in harmony with ourselves, the more the tendency is there that things fall in place, that also our immediate external scene is harmonizing itself more. But that doesn't mean it has to be like that all the time. Still, the confrontations are there. They will come, we can deal with them, they will go. And it's not so that when confrontations come that we have to think, oh my God, I did something wrong, otherwise things would go smoother. Sometimes it's like divinity is really putting difficulties in our path because that is also the way we at this point, at this time, can learn the most and grow the most. So we did not have every time when when things outside seem disharmonious, think, oh my God, I'm doing something wrong. Otherwise, this would not happen. It might happen in spite of that, no matter what you are doing it. But what is different is if we are self-conscious, if we stop handicapping ourselves with self-doubt, but ready to learn, ready to improve, but at the same time, always aware there is that one aspect that cannot be touched. And we connect with that, and then the external circumstances can be watched, at the same time participated with, but at the same time not take it so serious. The whole damn manifestation is not as serious as we think. In this magic show, there is a lot of humor, and sometimes humorously things are happening, not necessarily exactly in our favor, but usually they bring the opportunity to learn a lesson or just to become stronger and more firmly rooted in that one reality. So, my friend, just go on with your life as you are doing. No need of running around and hoping to find ways to earn extra money. As long as you can function with what you have, then use your time wisely. Live here, now, conscious, consciously alive, and relax in that. But then the outer circumstances, they come, they go. We don't take them so serious. If difficulties come along, they come, they have a peak, they go. If we keep our consciousness, then they make us stronger. They are opportunities to learn, to grow, to outgrow. The more we are capable of bringing the attention back to that one essence, the more that sense of self-worth is there automatically, need not be cuddled, need not be produced, need not be confirmed from outside. Okay, I'm dropping this also and stop talking away all by myself. I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who would like to come in and say something? Hildegard, would you like to say something? You have to unmute. Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm, Hello, everyone, and I'm happy to be here in the community. You talked about
Yes.
mantra recitation and using of mantra. And I like mantras for many, many years and sing mantras and so on. And I'm in retirement and I can do something for the world now. And I'm found that I like to do something for animals. And I'm in an association. They take care for homeless cats, and we take care for them in some rooms and in houses, and we try to find good homes for them. So I try to do that as a spiritual practice. And when I'm there with the sweet animals, I find to be in the now. I'm here. I'm really here with them, and they are so sweet, and I'm fully with them, much more than sometimes with human beings.
Yeah.
And it's easier.
It's easier, right?
And to mantras, I sometimes I try to sing. It is said we should do music for them. I like it and sing and I sometimes sing mantras. So is it good for these animals? There are an opinion it's not good to do spiritual practice in the presence of animals. Can you tell me something?
This is again another of these funny things that have sneaked into the some teachings. Of course, you can do mantra in the presence of my animals. You can do spiritual practices if they don't like it, if for somehow they don't feel very comfortable, they will take their distance all by themselves. But generally, they are rather attracted and they appreciate it. Of course, you can do mantra in the presence of cats or any other animals.
Um, um, the ears of the cats become uh, pointy,
Yeah,
and I think they like it.
yes, they like it. Often cats come and sit with meditators very close, or even climb on their lap. Yeah.
To be to like to be with the animals more than to be with human beings. Sometimes I think it's a little wrong. There is an avoiding in this position, in this inner position, or like in an openness for what for other duties or other opinion. Also, what can you tell me?
I mean, if you like what you are doing and that you are busy with animals and look for the well-being of stray cats, and you like that, then by all means do so. But yes, of course, many times it's easier to have that naturalness and that relaxedness with animals because there is not always that calculating mind there. With
Yeah.
humans, there is so much of the time there is a hidden agenda. The people are friendly, but then there is always already also something consciously or unconsciously calculating, and that gives a tension that is not as easy to bridge like with animals who simply don't do that. They also have their character, and sometimes they can annoy you, but they don't have that hidden agenda calculating
Yeah,
how
that's the
how
point, yes.
to how to squeeze some advantage out from you.
Yes.
But knowing that, don't feel bad if it's easier for you to be with animals than with humans. It happens to very many humans. But nevertheless, we can know, okay, this is a thing that unfortunately is there very common in humans, and we can be aware of it and then not resist the fact that it is there, not be judgmental about it, and still learn to be as natural and as relaxed as we are with animals. But with animals, it may come, for many people, it comes so spontaneous and naturally, easy, effortlessly, and but we can learn from that interaction with the animal. I could learn to have this kind of relaxed, open feelings also with humans. That doesn't mean we have to let ourselves be cheated and trampled on, but
Yes.
basically that we learn also to approach human to with an understanding that behind all that mental stuff that is often not so harmonious, there is still that one shining divinity. And if we remember that, then it's getting easier also to be more natural with other humans.
Thank you very much. Very good advice. In the eyes of the animals, I see everything becomes white and absolutely still. And I see them as divine in this moment.
Mhm. Yes, so they also don't have that mental activity, rum, rum, rum. They do have thoughts, they do have feelings, but they don't go on thinking, 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 not creating that layer that is around everybody.
Yes.
Human, most of the people, from the moment they wake up till they go to sleep, it just goes on rum, 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 which is, of course, sending out something that is not always very attractive. Well, the animals don't do that. They do think, they do have emotions, but it's more a spontaneous, instinctive happening and not this calculated thing.
Mhm.
The difference is that's the thing. The animals is in touch with the flow of life and is not brooding about the past and the future, but is here, is now, and there. They may get angry, they may get nasty sometimes, but they are not holding it in the mind and brood about it.
Mm.
Our, our dog, when another male comes, makes a big fuss and gets very angry, but is not after that sitting in his corner and thinks, how can he dare to come here? But we are doing that. When we meet somebody, get offended, and then instead of just dealing in the situation with it and let it go, then it has the tendency to stick. And then we go home and it goes on, and we relieve the situation and think, how can they dare to talk like this to me? And keep it going. This self-reflection is both that the human has that the animals don't have in that same measure. is both a curse, but it's also a great opportunity. It's a curse when we just focus on our me little personality, and then the mind goes on around my little problems, on and on and on. There we are creating so a heaviness that no animal is doing that. But if we use that capacity for self-reflection to bring the attention back to the source, to the essence, that's a great opportunity that the consciousness, the experience can unfold in a manner like an animal can't. They are fine as they are. In the in the same species, there is a very little difference. Some are more intelligent, some are less intelligent. They have their own character, but they live their life in that sphere, and that's it, and that's fine. That's perfectly all right that it is like this. As a human, we can make our life into hell, or we can really transcend all that, those limitations, because that capacity is there for self-reflection. But if that self-reflection is misused by just reflecting on me, my little problems, then it's a heavy, heavy burden. And meeting people, then we feel that heaviness is there. And so we have to have a bit more tolerance with humans to to accept, okay, behind all that, there's still that pure, simple divinity. Shall we leave it at that?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come and say something? You're welcome to do so. Everyone has their own little baggage. Some of it may already be there when one is born, wherever it's coming from. And then, if we don't live consciously, the tendency is that we keep on adding. And then, instead of living naturally, instead of living spontaneously, instead of living from the heart, there is always that baggage of things that we are carrying along that we would not need to carry along. Things happening in our life, we maybe meet with difficult situations, including difficult people. And the tendency is then to just push it away and rather suppress it. And there it keeps nagging because something of in us is still reacting to that past situation. And whenever the memory comes up, there come again the emotions that are involved with it, that struggle between one person and another person. And this is the kind of stuff that we need not carry along. It doesn't help us, it doesn't help them, it doesn't help anyone. One may feel so 100% justified to do so. I was totally right in that situation. How can they dare to behave like this or like that? But if we want to be free, it's not a question of whether we were right in certain situations or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we see that we still carrying a lot of stuff from what has happened with us that simply makes the present experience more difficult. The more we have of that, the more we have lenses for everything, categorize whatever we are seeing, hearing, experiencing. Categorizing people when we see them already there, all these kind of judgments are there, and that prevents us from being natural and spontaneous. That keeps us thinking, 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 day in and day out. And by thinking, 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 we keep our little reality so crystallized that it seems that's the only reality, that this is the reality. Sometimes people tell to me, I'm an atheist, I'm not religious, I'm not spiritual, I'm a realist. And I have to smile and think, and sometimes say, and so you think what you are thinking about, what you thinking is real, is really that real? These are things that happen no, naturally, automatically in a situation, in a society where most of the people function like this. We join the current, and then it needs a conscious decision. Hey, life could be so much more than that. Struggling from day to day, somehow getting through the day, somehow being able to deal with the situation, then go to sleep, and then it starts all over again. Day after day, month after month, year after year. But if one becomes aware, hey, life can be so much more than that, then we have the right to get rid of everything that disturbs that natural way of existing. The tendency at first is always to look out and adjust the situation, make the situation better, trying to make the situation more harmonious. Nothing wrong if it is easy, if it doesn't create new burdens, new obsessions. If we can adjust our situation, but what really counts is that we have a good, honest look at ourselves and see how much stuff we have accumulated that we are unnecessarily carrying along. And it is time to look at it and to detach from it and to let it go. To be free, be natural. It's everybody's birthright. Behind all that mental mechanisms, behind all those tensions, there is that beautiful, unpolluted, undiluted divinity. It is always here now, there for the asking. We just have to sincerely turn the attention in that direction. That we can do so, often it's necessary that we have a look at our stuff, see what is going on, and then learn to let go of many things that are not necessary at all, but are just a weight that we are carrying, that eats up our life energy, eats up our creativity. That we learn to live as it is meant to be. To go from day to day, a joyous, playful journey through this time-space continuum, getting richer for the experience with every day. That's what we have come here for. You have the opportunity to experience. You have the opportunity to have nice experiences. You have the opportunity to have confrontations and learn to get stronger in the course of the process. Stronger in our detachment, stronger in our capacity to accept things, even if they are often not so pleasant. Accept them as they come, deal with them, let them go, learn to be natural. As Hildegard has said, it's often easier with animals because they are natural. Of course, they also have their psyche, and sometimes they can get a little bit screwed up by people who are screwed up, but still, basically, animals have that simple, natural access to their life. And the difference is that they are not filling it up with so many things in the mind, that they are not adding more and more and more burdens to carry along, which after that makes us act and react in a disharmonious way, sometimes a destructive way, sometimes a spiteful, hateful way. Not being aware that in doing so, we are adding again more to the weight we are carrying along. In that sense, we always can learn from the animals to keep their, as they are keeping their innocence. Even if they develop some kinds of a bit a character that is not always only pleasant, there is always that innocence there, that immediate connection with the flow of life, that we can take an example from the animals, learn to be natural, and then we can make full use of that added possibility in a human form, that we can do so not simply spontaneously, instinctively, but consciously. And in that conscious way of being alive, in that conscious way of being natural, spontaneous, there is the possibility for the experience to unfold to transcend. And the potential that is there is simply staggering. Again, I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who would like to come in? You're welcome.
Hello, Werner. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Krista.
Yeah, Krista. Yes. Um, I wanted to say thank you to that beautiful interview I listened yesterday from you, where you talked about your past.
Uh-huh. The
It
one that
touched
is audio that they recently put up
the
with,
recent one I was sent to you, the one
yes,
you gave recently.
yes,
Okay, and it touched me very much because it's so, for me, so honest and so direct, and it feels so free. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So I also like to contribute that for me, mantras did help me many times in my life,
yeah,
and even sometimes it just comes that I use it for myself to calm down in difficult situations.
yes.
So I also have a question. What can you say to Ananda Maya Kosha?
Anandamaya Kosha. In order to just that people know what we are talking about, because
Yeah.
not everybody may know that terminology. In the Vedanta, they are saying that the body is not simply the gross body, but has different layers. It's 5 different layers. And then the Ananda Maya Kosha is the subtlest of the subtle body, according to that teaching, which is something that we are touching not quite consciously when we are asleep, but that what everybody, when they sleep well, when they're really touching that, they feel, I slept well. It's not having quite a clear recollection, but still somewhere the feeling is there, that was so great. I don't think that there are really these barriers between the koshas. That this one is the Annamaya, the Pranamaya, and the Manomaya. And so it goes. There are not really these barriers. It's more like there is the manifestation, and there are grosser aspects and subtler aspects, and it flows from one to another. And the Anandamaya Kosha is said it's the subtlest, and if you are capable of consciously being that in that and then transcend that, there you will realize your true nature. So in a way, what the one is trying to do, who is meditating, is to get in a similar state like when they go to sleep, except with the difference that it's conscious. And not that when we are going to sleep, we are doing the same thing like when we are meditating, we withdraw the attention from the daily problems. So somehow withdraw, and then suddenly snap, poop, there we go. and, and with meditation, with spiritual practice, we basically go the same way, but then try to go that way, but keep that consciousness, keep that awareness, that from that subtle state, it's much easier to open up to that one thing that is beyond any descriptions beyond subtle or gross that essence what we really are. Even the subtlest cover is still a cover. It's not what we really are. The subtlest Anandamaya Kosha is also covering up our true nature, but in a much less gross way, much subtler, so it's shining already more through it, what is behind it.
Okay.
In deep meditation, you also consciously touching that level. You're unconsciously touching it when you are in deep sleep. In deep meditation, you also withdrawing. Sometimes you may forget about the world. You may not more hear the things that are happening. And it feels good. It gives a pleasant, nice, harmonious feeling. But still, it's a cover of that which is really. But the meditation helps us because then we are going in the right direction. And from there, if we come to that subtle cover, then it's a little step to that pure consciousness, pure love, pure existence, pure energy. And that's actually all we can do to come up to that and then just be open for that mystery which is even beyond that. I don't know whether your question is answered or whether there is something specific you wanted to hear about this Anandamaya Kosha.
Mhm. For the moment is answered.
Yeah.
I did have to settle it. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Oh,
Great.
thank you. Thank you. Mhm.
Hario, Hario. Hello, Nava.
Hi, Werner. Could you say something about meditation that rather than focusing on something, you open up your awareness to everything so that whatever comes up, whether it's the body or a sound or a feeling, you just move from thing to thing?
Uh-huh. You can do so, but be careful that you just don't start to dream away. It's then easy to think it can give quite a good feeling when you are in a state and let it just happen, but it's then so easy to slip into just a dreamy state and then jump a bit from one thing to another and sort of amuse yourself there without really going deeper. If you can do so, but you retain that awareness of something is observing this and be aware of that observing also, then you can basically let it go in whatever way it wants to. But that focus is still necessary. That focus of not getting then lost in the experience, not just having a good time while sitting in meditation, but bring your meditation with your meditation, your attention back to yourself in one way or another. And then how you're going about that is very different. That you can concentrate on something or you can just relax and then let things come and go as they come and go. But as I said, there we have to be careful not to fool ourselves and dream away and then think, I did quite a good meditation there. because it can feel quite good doing that.
There are times when I find that it actually helps me focus back
Yeah,
on myself.
right.
When it's difficult to focus, let's say, on the breath,
Yeah,
then I open up and then I try to do that is become aware of that I'm being aware of it. So it
yeah,
comes back to me.
right. That's exactly what I meant. That
Yeah.
you can do so, but be aware that be careful, not then to just slide into that dreamy way, but right, be aware of the awareness in which this is happening. And then you can let come up whatever comes up. Hear
Mhm.
whatever you hear, smell whatever you smell. Uh, and everything, make it so that everything is pointing back to the source, to yourself.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hario. Hario. Is there anybody else who would like to come? With all the types of meditation people can do, if they have then practiced for some time, then often it's not so difficult to get into a state where one feels quite nice, where it feels quite good. Nothing wrong with that. But we should not get stuck there. Accept that, all right, that's nice, but still continue with the inquiry or whatever we are doing to become aware of that which makes the experience possible. And whether we get there by concentrating, focusing on one thing, or letting basically just the attention open and things come and go as they come and go, what matters is that it helps us to come back to that source, to that mystery that makes everything possible. If that meditation is doing so, then that meditation is perfectly good. No matter how we are going about it.
Hello.
Uh,
It's
okay.
Anita.
Andreas, you can come after.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Hello, Anita.
Hello. You know, I was pondering about this thought what Ramana Maharshi means with be who you are. I'm laughing because my interpretation has mostly been uh, to be your personality, to just your nature, how the stars made me or something like that, if I think of astrology. But really, I believe he means just be the Atman, the real self. That's the first question, but I think it's the second one what he meant, and the other one is that I find it really, I don't know how to say it, yeah, challenging um, to be the Atman. Okay, I connect, I feel, or I experience, however I want to say that. And but in the world, I am the personality, right? And then there are desires. But if I go in meditation and I relax, I see I am fulfilled. I don't need anything.
Hmm.
But it jumps back and forth, and um, yeah. So I don't know what the question is, the second one, but yeah, I'll
How
just
to deal with that?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the first, when Ramana said, be yourself, then it depends to whom he says that. If somebody is already very conscious, then he urges that being on, yes, put your attention back to your real self. But if a person is not so conscious, then the best way is to start to look at the personality. After all, it's not that there are two selves, one real, one unreal, one spiritual, one worldly. It's simply as long as we are thinking of ourselves as a person, then that purity is more covered up. But it's still that same life, that same being that is somehow coming through. And so even if one understands it like this, be yourself, that one examines one's own personality and learns to be naturally that instead of playing another role. Already to be a person is a role, but then many times instead of playing that role naturally, we're playing other roles to somehow cover up that, that first role. And we play a role in a role, a theater in a theater. But if we are looking honestly at the personality and learn to be natural with that, then actually invariably things that create tensions will come to the surface. We start to see them. We learn not to do that anymore. We learn to let that go. And invariably, it's like the attention sinks deeper and deeper into the self. The ultimate meaning, of course, is that be yourself. Stop believing that you are separate from the whole rest of existence. Be your real self. But in order to come there, we start where the mind is, where the attention is, where the experience is. And even if you focus on the personality and then not, I have to improve this in order to get a better person, but simply watch that personality. It's not that we have to get a better, become better and better and better as a person, and then finally somehow we turning into the self.
No, no.
It's it's just that we have to see what we think we are, that this personality is creating a lot of contradictions, a lot of tensions, and then learn to let those go. And then people may think that you're becoming a better person, but actually you're just becoming less of a person. And more of yourself is shining through. Sometimes people tell me, but if you do self-inquiry, who am I? Then one is meditating on the ego and making the ego stronger. But no, if we are conscious, if we bring the attention back to the present and see that me, I personality, invariably we cannot overlook if we are honest, then we see so many things that are not necessary. Pain, tensions that we are creating that are not necessary, and learn to let that go. And even if the inquiry in the beginning is very superficial and getting a bit stuck in the personality, if we're sincere about it, more and more of those layers simply drop. and it's getting deeper and coming back home to the self.
Okay. Yeah, with the inquiry and so I don't get stuck or that's not the issue. The issue is that my personality loves harmony, and if there is not harmony in certain situations, it bothers me. I have nightmares and I try to solve issues and so on.
Mm.
And it's getting really on my nerves. And but for me, still this, yeah, like either this or that.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, sometimes I manage to speak more from this, let's say, observant place or the not identified one, but it's more rare.
Well, as you continue, it may happen more easily and more frequently.
Yes, even
Right.
if I put it out here now, I'm getting more clarity to put it in
Right.
words.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's you see that it is there, that when you are active and amongst people and maybe a bit not so relaxed situation, then the tendency is to fall completely into that mode of me personality against the other persons around. But once you see it, then you can be more alert. And even if it happens, after the situation, the memory comes, and there we become aware, got me again. But right now I can let go, because we have the tendency not simply in the situation be stuck with it, but after that also turn it round and justify what I think, and I'm right, they're wrong.
Yes.
And then
Okay.
it may happen, as you said, and it may also happen that you're just totally in harmony, even if it's not harmonious in manifestation. That everything is easy and it simply flows from you. And then the mind may come and it goes again, but then it will come back. We cannot really do it, but we can make ourselves available that it can happen. And by reminding ourselves to remain in that observative state instead of getting all caught up emotionally into the situation, that's a way of making ourselves available that it can happen.
Yes, I'm gonna pray for this grace.
Yes, the grace is there. It's again the same. We have to make ourselves available for the grace. Grace is there all the time for those who want to benefit from it.
Mm.
The very fact that you're looking, that you're searching, that you're going on that way is already totally a manifestation of grace.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Hario. Andreas, you want to come in now?
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Can you talk more about the two types of meditation that you just mentioned? The one where you open up and the other one where you focus?
Yes, well, the essence is the same for no matter how you are going about it. The point of the meditation is that it makes it easier to turn the attention back to the source, to that where the whole experience comes from. And one can either focus, concentrate on a mantra, concentrate on a form, concentrate on an Advaitic saying, I am Brahma, concentrate on the breath. Or one can also just let go and observe. But then still, until this is happening effortlessly, spontaneously, there is still a focus necessary to stay in that observing space. Once this has become natural, we can just naturally relax, and it's happening by itself. But we have been functioning so differently for a long time, being so identified with what is experienced, the me personality, and whatever belongs to it, whatever is in the field of that experience of the me personality, being identified with that even if we decide now I'm shifting, I'm just staying in that space where the observation is happening. Observation is anyhow happening, whether we are aware of it or not. We don't have to create that. There is that aspect in us that is not affected, that is ever calm, that is peaceful, and from there, that observation is happening all the time. So by simply opening up and letting go still, somehow the focus has to be to remain there in that observing space as good as we can until it becomes effortless.
Yeah, when I try to do that, there's a lot of time, most of the times, a background story playing on in my mind where I think about, yeah, me and my future or whatever. And so I shift between focusing on the breath and opening up, because like trying to focus on the breath makes me more present, because
Yes. Good. You know, it's also not a contradiction. You can focus on the breath and still, after all, the mind will come up with all kinds of stuff. And there you can very strongly redirect the attention and focus on the breath and push the other away. Or you can keep on focusing on the breath and let the stories come in spite of that. Let whatever comes come and go what goes.
The hard part is not to get lost in it.
Yes, the temptation is always there to, something in the mind finds it interesting and then choop, hooks into it and then goes along with the story. And after some time, one becomes aware, now for that much time, I just was again doom, boom, going around there in that story. But then when that happens, you simply come back. That's how to go about it. And this is happening no matter whether you are focusing more, concentrating more, or rather just opening up and relax. In both situations, this is happening. Something comes along and the mind somewhere takes the bait and goes along with it.
Sometimes it feels like I'm doing the two things, not at the same times, but very quickly interchanging.
Yeah.
I'm there for a moment or focused and present, and then my mind gets into a story, and sometimes even when I'm in this lost a little bit in the story, there's still some part remaining present.
Yeah.
Because when I sit meditation, it's just like it takes some time and things change, and I get more present, even if I'm lost most of the time.
And then from the more present state, it's easier, even if stories come, to keep that distance, not to get lost in it, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, right. And so as this is getting more conscious, then gradually it may also get easier in the day-to-day life.
Sometimes you say you shouldn't, like, sometimes it's like you said, it feels kind of pleasant
Yeah.
to be in this open space. And then you say you shouldn't stay there, or just, can you explain this more?
Right. We can then be in a quite a nice space and a bit settle there. And then just sort of take a holiday. And come out of it and think, oh, I had a very nice meditation. Or we can still remember the point is not to just make us, we don't meditate just to make us feel good for the moment. The meditation is a pointer to the source. What is it that makes it possible to experience that nice state? Go along, don't get stuck in the nice state because it's nice, but all right, don't push it away. There's nothing wrong with the nice state. But all right, but what is it that makes the experience possible? Nice or not nice?
Okay.
Shall we leave it at that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Hari Om, Hari Om.
Thank you again. How are you?
You're welcome. Yes, spiritual practices, they are not, the point of it is not that we somehow are capable of making us feel quite happy, quite good. There is absolutely nothing wrong if that is happening, and it will happen more. If we shed more of the weight that we are carrying along, then that natural joyousness of existence has more of a chance to come to the surface. And so that good feeling will be there, but that's not the goal of the practice. That's why I say don't get stuck there. It's not that we practice simply to feel a bit better. It simply happens by the way that you feel better, because that is natural to feel good if we are not obstructing it. It's unnatural to be in tension, to be in pain, to be depressed, to be all that is making people suffer. The point of the practice is to open up to that which is prior to all that. That which makes the experience possible. We cannot achieve that because it's already there. It's not that the spiritual practice is somehow producing that, constructing that, but the practice helps us to get rid of what stands in the way, get rid of the obstacles. And that's natural. The more the obstacles are removed, the more that natural joyousness, that bliss of existence sometimes comes to the surface in this experience, in meditation or not in meditation. When I said, don't get stuck there, I simply mean uh, not to settle down and think, oh, I've reached quite a nice state, but all right, make use of that nice state to dive even deeper into your own self, into your own resources, into that mystery of existence. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.